Hi there. So you've probably noticed that the setting for my videos has changed quite a bit. The other long form videos were recorded about a year ago in another apartment. Now I'm in this apartment. And yeah, just to indicate that there's been a passage of time, had a vision for this channel, and now I'm finally doing it. I think it was inspired by a few things. Obviously, the recent changes in the industry, a lot of AAA layoffs, which I'm going to make some videos about. And yeah, I think a lot of people want to go indie, and I think now's the right time to do this channel. It's been on my mind for a while, actually, well, more than a year, actually. But yeah, now I've got the framework to do it, so I'm going to take it a bit further. So, but yeah, the topic I want to talk about, and that's why I kind of talked about this whole thing about it being a year, is AI in video games. Now, I know that's been a buzzword for a while. A lot of people have probably made videos about it, but this is a slightly different take. This isn't just about AI in dev, but the perception of AI and how it could affect your game, whether you choose to use it or not. So that's a video that I'm sure a lot of other people have gone for, and I'm sure there's a lot of content about that. There's a lot of debate about it, and I'm sure you can find a cool video about that. This one's more about the perception of it and how it could affect your game. So as of right now, the tech has improved a lot, and Steam has changed their policy. When I started making videos about a year ago, Steam had just changed their policy. But when I recorded those videos, Steam was still not allowing games made using AI. But now Steam's changed their policy. As long as you say how you use AI at the bottom of the store page, you're allowed to use AI. So that's that. So no matter how you view AI, the fact remains that some devs are going to use it, and that's just what's going to happen. Steam is unlikely to change that policy, and given that a lot of AAA studios are now using AI, it's unlikely that Steam's going to take a stance against them, and that's that. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think that's just tech. That's just the way things move forward. But anyway, moving along. That being said, if you're an indie studio, then you probably have to think twice about whether you're going to use AI or not, because you need to know, like in any business, you need to know who your client base are. And it's a very different set of people who buy AAA games as people who buy indie games, right? Because I think a lot of people who buy AAA games, they may not be aware or they may not care about the social and ethical implications of AI. They just want to play their game, and that's that. I don't think a lot of them are necessarily that fussed. No judgment there. Each their own. You know, different people care about different things. That's perfectly fine. And if you're getting the product you want, as long as, you know, in some people's mind, as long as nobody died or nobody got extremely hurt using it, then it's fine, right? So, you know, let's set aside AAA. Like, trying to debate about AAA is, like, yeah, it's still a topic that I think should be open to discussion, but these are, you know, multi-billion-dollar companies. Whether they care about the opinions of people like you and me is, well, I think we all know the answer to that one. Indies, on the other hand, I think the public still has a lot of power. The type of person who buys indie generally is, I feel, more intellectual, cares a lot about, like, yeah, things like ethics and morality and stuff like that. So they're going to look at it from a slightly different perspective. And if your game's very small and is only designed for a tiny niche, you might get away with it in the sense that, like, yeah, using quite a bit of AI is fine. There might be a bit of understanding that you're a small studio, you're trying things out. And I do sort of recommend that, like, for your concept work, you do use it because, you know, let's be honest, it's expensive to make games. So, you know, for concept stuff, I think it's fine. I don't think the perception will be that bad. I don't think the backlash will be that bad. However, if your game is a bit closer to the medium size, in the sense that it's not a small, like, you know, venture that took a few months to make and will supply 2 to 3 hours of gameplay, if it's something that's a bit beefier, and there's a somewhat of a chance for it to become an indie darling, or, you know, there should really be terms between indie and AAA. And if it's somewhere that sits in between, then, and you believe your game's there, like, you know, you've got more than 10 hours of gameplay, like realistically between, I say 10 and 50, and like it took you well over a year to make it, and quite a bit of money, then I would actually opt against using AI, in the sense that the backlash will be too bad, in the sense that or will be very bad for you, in the sense that if you reach that turning point, right, where it's starting to go, it's starting to go the direction that it might become an indie darling. If you're going that direction, and then suddenly a lot of people are seeing it, and then they log on the community hub and go, oh, these people used AI, this and that. The backlash could be quite bad, and then people on forums talking about it and saying, don't buy this person's game, they've used AI. That might be enough to halt you at that point where you're about to turn into an indie darling, an indie hit, and it might stop you at your tracks. So if you've invested a significant amount of time and money, for the little extra that would probably cost to just buy assets off the Unity store and just hire a few artists to really polish them up and make them look better, that's really what I recommend. Especially if your estimates are that you can reasonably ship more than 10,000 units. Yeah, that's what I do. Just that little bit of money is just worth it. And obviously, it's also great to hire fellow professionals. You'll get new ideas from it. There's obviously so many reasons to hire a human, and just thematically, it'll look better. So if you're kind of not a pure starter indie, if you kind of know what you're doing a little bit, which I suspect is going to be a lot of you transitioning from AAA to starting your own new games, it might be tempting to use a lot of AI to save money. But I do recommend that outside of concept work, if this game's a bit bigger and you're going to put in a year's work into it, if it's that big, then yeah, just to play it safe, right? Because if public opinion swings against you and it stops you becoming an indie darling, then I think that might be reason enough. I'm kind of yet to see an indie game that uses a lot of AI that's managed to become an indie darling. So I do believe that within the client base, the people who buy indie games, the feeling is still very much that, yeah, AI takes away from a game. So like I said, conceptually it's fine, but I do believe that if you think or you're trying to become an indie darling, which I know theoretically you think everyone's trying to be an indie darling, but there's something to be about making small games that are just going to ship a little bit, but it's a good proof of concept. And so that's fine. If that's the type of game you're making, yeah, AI is fine. But if you're trying to become an indie darling, if you think you can ship 10,000 units and you put in a year and invested considerable money, just that little bit extra, if you can afford it, yeah, just make it all human, because it is worth it. And that's actually just for 2D. 3D, I still think the tech's not there. I think buying Unity assets where they're made to work with the Unity engine naturally, I still think that's the way to go for that. 3D AI technology is still not there. But if you're making a 2D game, I still think if that's what you're aiming for, it's definitely worth it. All right, cool. I'm hoping to post a bit more long form, but especially as more news about AAA comes up, and I'm going to post shorts about that. But I do think that it's a discussion that needs to be had. So I'm hoping to post a long form video about AAA as well. All right, I'll see you guys soon.